Welcome back, you beautiful souls. This is a old what if. This is what if Deku had adaptation. Also in this, Deku is female and she is somewhat dating. She's at this point in the story, like entrance exam, she is technically dating. Her and Shoto are technically dating. So that being said, if you haven't seen any of the previous episodes, do go back and check them out, because otherwise this won't make any sense. So our story begins on the day of the entrance exam. Two boys arrive, and then you can hear, "Come on guys, that's not funny, freeze me in place, Shoto, haha, I'm gonna get you for that." So they arrive, and everyone just is kind of looking at these three kids. They're all like laughing, making jokes as they're walking up to the thing. And a very serious looking young man like stops and is like, "If you think this is a joke, go ahead and go home." And all three of them just give him like a death glare. It's like, and say, "We're here to get into UA. If that's not your goal, then could you kindly stop talking to us?" And the three just continue walking and like laughing and making inside jokes, kind of talking about like what their training was like, the training that they were doing, because Katsuki's like saying, like explaining to him how his master and like his disciple helped him out, and like he picked up a lot of things sparring with them, like in hand-to-hand combat from day to day. And Izuku and Shota kind of say, "Yeah, well, Shota, he's gotten fairly decent control over his fire side, but his ice skills, like, wow, he increased. Like, because he's using his fire, he's been able to regulate his body temp, and he's been able to make like larger and more complex ice moves and structures." And Shoto like laughs, is like, "Well, Sakata, you weren't a pushover either. Like, what you did that one time, like, if you ever figure out how to do that, like, crap, I might as well retire." And Kashi's like, "Oh, so you're gonna let your woman do the work while you sit at home?" And both Shoto and Sakura both like faces turn beet red. And Sakura says, "Kachan, really? Ruin the mode. Well, in any case, we should get inside already." And in the distance, like a girl that has some brown hair is like thinking, it's like, "Wow, those three must be really strong if they're that confident." "Okay, well, let's go. Do your best." So I'm gonna say the written exam, because Shoto is really smart. I think he scored like third highest as far as like the curriculum, because it was I believe it was like Mineta, it was like Yayarozu, no, Shoto was like the second highest, because it was then Katsuki and then Mineta. I believe that was the order. I could be wrong, but needless to say, Shoto would have tutored Sakura a little bit. And with Bakugo having like several months with almost day-to-day hand-to-hand combat with Mirio and All Might, his physicality has shot through the roof. And he also talking with Mirio about like the curriculum of UA and everything. He's done like studying. So all three of them, they're going to pass the written exam, no questions asked, and there's nothing really to cover over that outside of that. So we go on to where President Mike is explaining the practical exam. He goes through, describes the 1-pointers, the 2-pointers, and the 3-pointers. And then, just like in canon, Ida stands up and says, well, this, like in canon, about the 0-pointer. And President Mike says, oh, very perceptive of you. Yes, well, the 4th robot is more of an obstacle and it's worth 0 points. So, it's not that you can't defeat it, but there's no point. In any case, on the back of your registration cards, you will see the bus that you will be taking you to your test area. And the 3 of them realize that they have different test areas. And they say, hey, like, Sakura said, hey, no, wait a minute. Katsuki would say, hey, Sakura, we should have a competition between the 3 of us. Wouldn't that be fun, Shoto? And Shoto's like, yeah, it would be kind of fun. Who can get the highest points? And then Katsuki's like, what about we all get to, like, let's say 400 points? And this is when Shoto's like, what about 500? And then they'll be like, no, 400's enough. And then Sakura's like, oh, okay, so what about the losers? And then Sakura's like, hey, what about if the losers have to wear chicken suits at the mall for an entire day? And Katsuki being slapped, and he's like, for 400 points, I'm not gonna, like, make that bet. And then Shoto looks at him with a grin and is like, what about 500? And Sakura and Katsuki kind of look at him menacingly, and he's like, okay, 500. Then we wait for the 0-pointer, and when it's released, destroy the 0-pointer if you can, and then get as many more points as you can. So at this, the three friends kind of, like, go their separate ways to their bus. They get to their testing arenas, and then all of a sudden, like, you can just hear simultaneously, like, loud booming voices, like, in the waiting areas. In Katsuki's areas, he's like, wait 30 seconds and come to the center of the test area. There's gonna be a lot of villains on my tail, and I'm gonna need the backup. And if you're not there, then I guess you won't be passing this exam. And you can just hear in Shoto's area, we need to make our way to the center of the area. We'll take out villains as we go, and searching to see if there's anybody that could be in danger. Watch each other's backs, and as soon as we get to the center, they're gonna be coming on it. They're gonna be coming down on us like candy. They're gonna be easy pickings. And then in Sakura's area, everyone, meet me in the center. I'll bring a lot of villains there. Trust me, I'll do it. And if you're not there, I don't think I'll be able to take them all out on my own. And then you just hear over the mics before anybody else could, like, chastise, like, the three of them. On your marks, get set. There's no countdowns in real life. Go, 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 go. Immediately, Bakugo, like, shoots out, like, creating explosions behind him, flying out, and then landing and starting to run, using explosions to pick up more and more speed, eventually jumping again and landing. He does this several times, creating lots of noise, and people are in just awe in his area. Just seeing this young person doing this, exhibiting powers that are pretty much unheard of for high school students, let alone first years. And then you see in Shoto's area, like, the entire area, like, encased in ice, like, surrounding, like, the entire group. And as Shoto moves, like, the wall of ice is, like, moving. And they can just hear, like, robots like hitting the outside of it, and a few of them like he can hear explosions, and Shoto says, "Let's keep moving. If any gets through," he's looking around and he's like, "You two, focus on the ones that are getting through. You four." And pretty much this is going to start happening with Katsu's group as well. And then in Sakura's area, like at the beginning of it, they just see her jump up, jump down, and crack her neck, and then she was just a blur after that. And they can just hear explosions far off into the distance. And as they're making their way towards the center of the area, as they're making it out, they see some robots laying down, but there's also some making it towards like what explosions that can be heard in the back. And they're like, "Whoa, she wasn't kidding. Wow, she's strong." And so as they get to the center, like as the groups in the three areas get to the center, they see these like amazing like abilities in like feats. In Katsuki's area, they can just see like explosions going up into the air and then coming down, taking out several like villains that are surrounding him. And Katsuki's pretty much standing on like a pile of rubble, and when people look, it's just robot parts. As Shoto group nears the center, like the pounding is like gotten more and more intense. And Katsuki's like, "I can't hold him off any much longer. Everyone, get ready." In his fire, they just feel like an intense heat radiate off him as his fire side becomes more intense, and then his ice, like the ice barrier he had created, starts to like dissipate. And villain robots start pouring in. Students go left and right, just taking out robots left and right. And by this time, like they just see Shoto walk to the very center of it, and just staring, like just with his eyes closed, and his frost side comes out, and like everyone can see like just a slight frost has blanketed the entire area. As the group in Sakura's area gets to like the center area, they just see Sakura dropping off like a couple of robots, and then they can just feel like many tremors, like lots of like something's just coming. And they see it, a flood of villains coming out of like an alleyway. And Sakura says, "Now, take them now! Take them down now!" And after Sakura gets her allotted points, like she walks to the center and closes her eyes, and they just see her just standing perfectly still. She's listening, waiting for a time. And then they see Katsuki go to the center, and he counts, and he's breathing, and he breathes up, and he shoots extremely high in the sky. Like so far to where like he's just like a black dot. And this is when like Sakura and Shoto kind of notice it, and they both like mumble under their breath. Show off. And the teachers and a lot of the students that are in the areas with these three are just astounded at like what these three have done. Like they single-handedly took out so many villains, but yet rallied everyone else to help end the threat of the villains. And also, like here and there, Shoto would like send an ice spike up, destroying a robot that was behind someone. And that's how he got his 500. And then Nezu's like, "Huh, I wonder what they're waiting for. Could it be?" And Nezu just looks down, and he's like, And the teachers just look over and be like, "What are you doing?" And Nezu's like, "Yeah, we'll be fine. Just watch the other zones. I have a feeling about A, B, and D zone." And as soon as like the massive tremors can be heard, you just see Shoto jump up and blitz over as a pillar of ice is shooting him. And an ice spike is being formed in front of him, and Shoto's releasing fire out as he strikes the zero pointer as he makes contact, sending a hole straight through it, and he lands on the other side as a large explosion happens. As you can see, in a few moments before that, Kotsky yells out, AP nuke! And as you can see, a bright orange bolt just comes from the sky and strikes down the zero pointer just as it's coming out of its container. And Sakura thinks, damn it, I lost! And then she hears a scream, and she looks over and she's like, but I can't stop, someone's in trouble. And as she turns, she sees a zero pointer batting a step, and then everyone can just hear a sonic boom, and half the zero pointer is gone, and Sakura's just standing there panting. As she's looking down at the girl, and she's like, are you okay? Are you hurt? And the girl says, yeah, I think I sprained my ankle a little bit, but I'm okay. Wow, you're strong. And she's like, yeah, but God, those two, they've gotten so strong. I don't think I'm gonna have to wear a chicken suit. And Sakura kind of is helping Ochaku, because they introduce themselves. And Sakura's like, oh, your quirk's pretty cool. And Ochaku's like, well, your quirk's amazing. You had such an odd quirk, but yet you trained so much, apparently. It's pretty obvious if you don't have a super strength quirk or an enhancer quirk. And Sakura kind of laughs a little bit at this. So this is where things get weird. As they walk out, Katsuki's just grinning and he's like, how long did it take you? And Sakura's flustered, and she's like, I've got to wear a chicken suit in the mall! How do you think it went? And Katsuki just begins to laugh, and Shoto's like, I wouldn't be laughing, Bakugo. From my calculations, it could be either or of us that won. And this is when they hear over the intercoms, Bakugo Katsuki, Midoriya Sakura, Todoroki Shoto, report to the lobby area. And as they get there, Nezu is standing there, and he's like, oh, you three, over here. I'm the principal here at UA, and I wanted to be, this is a little out of norms, but you three definitely passed. Matter of fact, all three of you broke All Might's record of 440 points. And this is when they're like, so who got the highest points? And this is when Nezu turns to Bakugo, and he's like, young man, you scored the highest points in UA history at 520. And then he turns to Todoroki, and he's like, oh, young Todoroki, you're the ex-hero endeavors. And you can see a twinge of pain. And Nezu's like, oh, don't get me wrong, that has nothing to do with it. You and the young lady tied at 515. Because I would say, Sakura may have taken out, a few other, robots with the shrapnel, which is why she didn't get as much rescue points. But because of the sheer amount of robots she took out, she kind of tied with Shoto. Shoto actually got more rescue points, but less villain points. So it evened out. They're within the same range, but Katsuki beat both of them. So that being said, the reason why Sakura said I have to wear a chicken suit Remember, she made the bet that the losers have to wear a chicken suit in public at the mall. And she knew she lost. And she's like, I can't believe I ever made the bet with you two. I thought I had this in the bag. And Katsuki's laughing at this as like they're walking to the train station. And everyone's just looking at these three. And, well, a few people have really noticed them that are in the school. So all week, a lot of like the second and third years heard rumors of 3 testing areas being completely cleared out of robots. And this is what Nezu said, and he's like, this is actually, it's what's even more amazing is because of you 3 entire testing areas were completely cleared out. And this kind of shocks the 3. And he's like, this is why this is out of the norm. You 3 are definitely going to be in the hero course. And you've made it into UA. Congratulations. So, with that being said, I know some of you are going to be like, oh, but they wouldn't do that. I'm just saying that because that way I can get on to the chicken suit at the mall episode, which will be an episode all in of itself, and special guests will arrive. Our new 3 heroes will meet like 3 heroes of UA. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.